China President Xi Jinping given state welcome at Istana Negara. And Israel offers 45-day ceasefire. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. This is World Today. I'm Brendan Paul. Chinese President Xi Jinping was given a state welcome at Istana Negara today in conjunction with a 3-day state visit starting yesterday at the invitation of His Majesty Sultan Ibrahim, the King of Malaysia. President Xi was received by Sultan Ibrahim on his arrival at 10:30 a.m. Also present were Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim and his wife Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail, both Deputy Prime Ministers Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof, as well as Cabinet Ministers. This visit marks Xi's second official visit to Malaysia in 12 years after the last visit in 2013, which saw the two countries upgrade diplomatic relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Wisma Putra, in an earlier statement, said Xi, accompanied by cabinet ministers and senior government officials, is also scheduled to meet with Datuk Seri Anwar this evening to discuss bilateral cooperation and exchange views on regional and international issues of common interest. Xi's visit is part of the Chinese president's first state visit series this year, which also includes Vietnam and Cambodia. For 16 consecutive years since 2009, China has remained Malaysia's largest trading partner. China welcomed 9.215 million foreign travellers in the first 3 months of this year, up by 40.2% year-on-year, thanks in part to its new visa-free transit policy. Lin Yongsheng, a spokesperson for the National Immigration Administration on Tuesday, said this was due to China's visa-free transit policy, expanded last December, had increased the permitted stay for eligible foreign travellers from the original 72 hours and 144 hours to 240 hours or 10 days. The spokesperson said since the implementation of the 240-hour visa-free transit policy, there are more and more foreign travellers coming to China. Under the optimized policy, eligible visitors can enter China through 60 ports visa-free and stay in or travel across 24 provincial-level regions. Lin added, the policy allows foreign travellers to stay in China for a longer period of time and explore more places. Lin also emphasized 6.57 million foreign visitors, or just over 71% of the total number, entered China visa-free. He stated nearly 60% of foreigners entering China choose to cover different regions during their stay, which in turn is boosting inbound tourism. Since the policy was optimized, the number of foreign visits to popular Chinese cities such as Huangshan and Anhui Province, Wuyishan in Fujian Province, and Zhangjiajie in Hunan Province has increased 21.6% year-on-year. The 240-hour visa-free transit policy was an effective tool to spur inbound tourism to China. And moving forward, former President of the United States, Joe Biden, criticized Donald Trump, asserting that the first 100 days of his administration caused significant destruction and claiming the hatchet effort put Americans' retirement benefits at risk. Joe Biden made his first major speech since leaving the White House in January.
Fewer than 100 days, this new administration has done so much damage and so much destruction. It's kind of breathtaking it could happen that soon. They've taken a hatchet to the Social Security Administration, pushing an additional 7,000 employees, 7,000 out the door in that time, including the most seasoned career officials. Now they're getting ready to push thousands more out the door.
He highlighted staff reductions at the agency that Trump and his billionaire aide, Elon Musk, have pushed as part of the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, saying the Social Security, quote, website is crashing and hindering retirees from getting their benefits. The Social Security Administration, SSA, pays out $1.4 trillion in benefits to 73 million elderly and disabled Americans annually. Trump repeatedly pledged during his election campaign not to touch Social Security benefits. However, members of the Doge team have pledged to cut at least 7,000 staff and shutter offices, triggering fears of longer lines, longer wait times, and benefit disruptions. President Donald Trump engaged in discussions with the Sultan of Oman regarding the upcoming Iran negotiations set to take place on Saturday in Oman. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt stated that Trump's primary objective in the discussions, which began with an initial meeting last Saturday, was to utilize negotiations to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon.
Of course, the maximum pressure campaign on Iran continues, but as you know, the president has made it clear he wants to see dialogue and discussion with Iran while making his directive about Iran never being able to obtain a nuclear weapon quite clear. The two leaders also discussed the United States' ongoing operations against the Houthis and emphasized that the Houthis will pay a severe price until they end their attacks on maritime traffic in the Red Sea.
Trump has restored a maximum pressure campaign on Tehran since February, after he ditched a 2015 nuclear pact between Iran and six world powers during his first term and reimposed crippling sanctions on the Islamic Republic. On a different note, the White House stated that President Donald Trump is seeking an apology from Harvard. This response came when he was inquired about the potential removal of the university's tax-exempt status.
We have the anti-Semitism task force, which the president promised and delivered on. The anti-Semitism task forces across the government, representatives from various federal agencies who meet on a weekly basis to discuss the question that you just raised. And I think a lot of Americans are wondering why their tax dollars are going to these universities when they are not only indoctrinating our nation's students, but also allowing such egregious illegal behavior to occur.
President Donald Trump called for Harvard University to lose a valuable tax break hours after his administration announced it is freezing more than $2 billion in federal funds for the elite institution. The White House has demanded the oldest university in the U.S. make changes to hiring, admission, and teaching practices, which it says will help fight anti-Semitism on campus. Harvard on Monday rejected numerous demands from the Trump administration it said would cede control of the school to a conservative government that portrays universities as dangerously leftist. And still to come, death toll rises to 3,706 in Myanmar earthquake, 5,017 injured. More of that later, but first, Hamas said recently that Israel has offered a 45-day ceasefire if it releases half of the remaining hostages held in Gaza, which the United Nations said is now in the grip of its worst humanitarian crisis since the start of the war. The proposal includes the disarmament of Hamas and all Palestinian armed factions in the Gaza Strip as a condition for a permanent end to the war. In a statement, Hamas stated its leadership is studying the proposal with great national responsibility and will submit its response as soon as the necessary consultations are completed. The group reaffirmed its core demands for any potential agreement: a permanent ceasefire, a complete withdrawal from the Gaza Strip, a genuine prisoner exchange, the start of a serious reconstruction process, and the lifting of the unjust siege on the people in Gaza. Earlier, the United Nations warned that Gaza's humanitarian humanitarian crisis was spiraling out of control, with no aid entering the territory for weeks and conditions rapidly deteriorating. Meanwhile, Gaza-based health authorities said at least 1,613 Palestinians were killed and 4,233 others injured since Israel renewed its intensive strikes on 18 March across the Gaza Strip.
According to Myanmar, currently the death toll from Myanmar's powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake has reached 3,706, with 5,017 others injured and 130 still missing as of Tuesday. The powerful tremors from the 28 March earthquake were felt in neighboring countries, including Thailand, where the State Audit Office building collapsed in Bangkok.
According to the Bangkok Post, the death toll from the collapsed building increased to 44 on Tuesday as workers discovered more human remains at the site. Bangkok Deputy Governor Tavida Kamonwe said human remains found at the site were sent to forensic police for identification, which confirmed the death toll. According to the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, 50 people remain missing at the site. Thai authorities requested the Myanmar embassy to collect DNA samples from people living near the Myanmar-Thailand border to help identify more victims. Officials from various government agencies are investigating the cause of the building collapse, reviewing the contractors' backgrounds, and evaluating the quality of the construction materials used.
2 years of Sudan's civil war have dealt a devastating blow to the country's economy, putting the financial system on the verge of collapse, leading to high inflation and soaring prices, and leaving the Sudanese people to struggle for a living. Fighting broke out in the capital of Khartoum on 15 April 2023 between the Sudanese Armed Forces (SAF) and the Paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF), and has spread to other areas across the country.
The brutal fighting has killed at least 29,700 people and displaced nearly 13 million people. The 2023 conflict also periled the country's banking sector. According to statistics from the Central Bank of Sudan, the country's financial assets have shrunk by about half during the conflict as hundreds of bank branches were robbed and more than 70% of bank branches were forced to close. The Sudanese government has launched a currency swap plan in the 7 eastern states under its control since December last year, replacing old banknotes with new ones. However, new money cannot be exchanged in areas controlled by the RSF, resulting in a dual currency system in Sudan. More than 65% of its people are living in poverty, where food prices have soared 2 to 3 times the price before the outbreak of war, plunging Sudan into a serious hunger crisis. Nearly half of the country's population, or about 24.6 million people, are experiencing acute food insecurity.
2 fishing vessels and a dhow were hijacked off the coast of Somalia between 7 February and 16 March, indicating that piracy in the region remains a threat, according to a new report released Tuesday by a global anti-piracy body. The International Chamber of Commerce International Maritime Bureau (IMB) first quarter report reveals that 26 crew members were taken hostage in these incidents, which demonstrates the continued capability of Somali pirates.
According to the agency, all crew members and the vessels have been released. The international navies patrolling these waters continue to coordinate and liaise with merchant and fishing fleets to identify and apprehend pirate action groups. The IMB advises ships navigating these waters to exercise caution and to strictly follow the latest version of the industry best management practice. It also cautioned vessel owners and masters against complacency. Additionally, the IMB urged continued caution in the Gulf of Guinea waters as crew members remain at risk, although the number of reported incidents within the region and adjoining littoral states continues to be at its lowest in nearly 2 decades.
And in other news, an explosion that targeted a police vehicle in Pakistan's southwestern Balochistan province has killed at least 3 officers. No group has so far claimed the attack.
At least 3 police officers were killed and 16 others injured on Tuesday after a bus carrying police personnel exploded in the Pakistani province of Balochistan. The blast was reportedly caused by an improvised roadside bomb in Mastung district, around 40 kilometers south of the provincial capital, Quetta. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif denounced the attack and vowed to continue the fight against terrorism. Authorities in the conflict-ridden Balochistan region bordering Afghanistan and Iran have requested an investigation report into the incident. The situation in Balochistan has become increasingly tense in the last month after several Baloch separatist groups announced the formation of a common armed front on 2nd March.
European Union observers on Tuesday said that they categorically reject allegations of fraud in Ecuador's Sunday presidential elections, joining a chorus of rejections of leftist Luisa González's call for a recount. Electoral authorities, the organizations of American states, the United States, and members of González's own party have said that President Daniel Noboa secured a full term in the vote.
Noboa's lead of more than 1 million votes was a surprising sweep after a tight February first round when he finished ahead by just over 16,700 votes. Gabriel Mato, chief observer of the EU Electoral Mission for Ecuador on Tuesday, said they categorically reject the repeated narrative of fraud, which has led the Citizens' Revolution candidate not to recognize the results. His team have not seen any evidence of manipulation or credible reports of fraud, Mato said, adding Ecuadorians have voted freely. He said there is work to be done for future contests, however, to ensure campaign donations are tracked properly. Indigenous party Pachakutik, which had backed González in a statement early Tuesday, said it recognized Noboa's victory and hoped campaign pledges would be implemented for the good of the country. González has not appeared publicly since election results were announced Sunday night, nor provided details of what she said was a, quote, grotesque fraud.
Hong Kong Post today said it had suspended goods mail services by sea to the United States and will suspend its air mail postal service for items containing goods from 27 April due to, quote, bullying U.S. tariffs. Hong Kong Post in a statement said that when sending items to the United States, the Hong Kong consumers should be prepared to pay exorbitant and unreasonable fees due to the U.S. unreasonable and bullying acts.
He added other postal items containing documents only without goods would not be affected. The U.S. is unreasonable, bullying and imposing tariff abusively, Hong Kong Post said, adding it will definitely not collect any so-called tariffs on behalf of the U.S. Hong Kong, a special administrative region of China, has been subjected to the same tariffs as China. The former British colony has long been known as a free and open trading hub, but China's imposition of Hong Kong of a sweeping national security law in 2020 drew criticism from the U.S. and led it to end the financial hub's special status under U.S. law. Hong Kong Post explained its suspension was due to the U.S. government's elimination of the de minimis exemption and the increase in tariffs for postal items from Hong Kong containing goods to the U.S. from 2nd May.
Moving on to sports, PSG survived Aston Villa onslaught to reach Champions League semis. Stay tuned.
Petronas Malaysia Cup Prix 2025. Pusingan pertama, Terima jentera moped pelbagai kategori. Kali ini menggegam Lita Sepang Utara. Nantikan aksi berani pelumba menakluk Lita Ahad 20 April 2.30 petang di TV2 dan di saluran sukan RTM, juga secara penstreaman langsung di RTM Click.
And kicking off with football, Paris Saint-Germain kept alive their dream of a first Champions League title on Tuesday by squeezing past Aston Villa 5-4 on aggregate after a pulsating second leg of their quarter-final, which the English side won 3-2.
Ahead 3-1 from the first leg, PSG appear to have sealed the contest within the first half hour as their marauding fullbacks Ashraf Hakimi and Nuno Mendes scored from two flowing counter-attacks to stun the Villa Park crowd. However, Yuri Tillemans revived hope with a 34-minute deflected goal before Villa shocked the visitors early in the second half with 2 goals in 2 minutes from John McGinn and Ezri Konsa. Villa poured forward, drawing a string of outstanding saves from PSG goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma to preserve the aggregate win and enable his side to move into a semi-final against either Real Madrid or Arsenal. PSG had been hot favourites to win the quarter-final given their first leg advantage and recent form, including sealing a 4th straight Liga A title and reaching the final of the French Cup.
And in tennis, world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz began his Barcelona Open campaign with a straight sets win over American Ethan Quinn on Tuesday. The 21-year-old Spaniard withstood American qualifier Ethan Quinn 6-2, 7-6 to advance to the second round at the clay court ATP 500.
Alcaraz was forced to rally from 3-1 in the second set and saved a set point on return at 5-6 in the tiebreak, but produced a timely surge in form to deny Quinn a comeback of his own. Alcaraz, who won back-to-back titles in Barcelona in 2022 and 2023, was pushed in a high-quality second set of his maiden clash with Quinn. With his victory over Quinn, Alcaraz picked up where he left off after lifting his 6th ATP Masters 1000 trophy in Monte Carlo on Monday. The Spaniard, who is now 18-1 on clay since last May, will next face qualifier Laszlo Djere in Barcelona. Meanwhile, Casper Ruud and Stefanos Tsitsipas advanced to the second round with comfortable victories at the Barcelona Open on Tuesday. Norwegian second seed Ruud downed Colombia's Daniel Galan 6-4, 6-3. Ruud served back-to-back double faults to fail to fall Love 30 in the first set, but crucially reeled off 8 of the final 9 points of the opener to swing the momentum in his favour, while Greek third seed Tsitsipas went through with a 6-2, 6-2 win over big serving American Riley Opelka in opening rounds at the clay court ATP 500 events. Also through are Australia's Alex de Minaur 6-4, 6-4, winner over Argentina Thomas Martin Echeverry, and Frenchman Arthur Fils, who beat Spain's Pablo Carreno Busta 7-6, 6-3.
And elsewhere, Jasmine Paolini and Emma Navarro lived up to their seeded billing at the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix on Tuesday evening, quickly picking up first-round wins at the WTA 500 indoor clay event in Stuttgart, Germany. Number 5 seed Paolini of Italy needed only 1 hour and 4 minutes to dismiss Effa Liss 6-2, 6-1 in the first match of the night session.
Paolini moves one step closer to matching her quarter-final run from last year. World number 68 Liss came into Stuttgart as the German number 1 for the first time in her career, but that new status could only get her so far, as Paolini dominated in return games on Tuesday. Paolini will take on a German wildcard for a second match in a row when she meets Jule Niemeyer in the second round. Later in the evening, number 7 seed Navarro of the United States made a spectacular Stuttgart tournament debut when she swept past Brazil's Beatriz Haddad-Maia 6-3, 6-love. In a 1 hour and 16-minute clash between top 20 players, Navarro fired 24 winners to Haddad-Maia's 8. Navarro converted 4 of her 9 break points in the match, and the American never dropped served. The world number 11 will now face a former Grand Slam champion in the second round when she has her first career meeting with 2017 Roland Garros victor Yelena Ostapenko.
Inter Miami Football Club and Royal Caribbean have teamed up once again to create unforgettable memories for children facing critical illnesses. The Wish Kids and their families came from across the country to fulfill their heartfelt wish of meeting the Inter Miami first team, including club captain Lionel Messi, at their home stadium in Fort Lauderdale on Tuesday.
From 12 to 15 April, 23 Make-A-Wish children participated in a remarkable 4-day wish granting experience, marking the second full-team initiative since their partnership began. Besides Messi, Luis Suarez, Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets were also there to celebrate the kids. The excitement was palpable as the children engaged with their soccer heroes and experienced the magic of the game. Each wish child received their own field-level suit, complete with personalized gifts, including a team-signed Inter Miami CF jersey featuring their name. The event commemorated World Wish Month, which builds upon the foundation of 29th April annually celebrated World Wish Day.
Swiss climber Nicolas Hoyak and his Austrian partner Philipp Brugger shattered a 21-year record by completing the north faces of the Eiger, Munch and Jungfrau in only 15 hours and 30 minutes, shattering the previous record by almost 10 hours. It was announced on Tuesday.
The climb in the Bernese Alps, completed on 5th April, saw the pair broke the previous record of 25 hours by Swiss alpinist Willi Steck and Stefan Sigris in 2004. The duo began their ascent in the darkness at 1 a.m. local time and reached the Eiger in just under 6 hours, a distance that takes many amateur climbers 1 or 2 days. Seizing the time advantage, they never let it slip. Reflecting on their achievement, Hoyak described the experience as completely surreal. Initially, the duo had hoped to complete the traverse in 19 to 21 hours. However, finishing in far less time left them both astonished. The trio of peaks, Eiger, Munch and Jungfrau, are among the Swiss Alps' most iconic and challenging climbs.
Membakar semangat juang dua pasukan. Pemburuan tahta terulung bakal dimuktamadkan dengan pertembungan dua gergasi. Harimau Selatan kini bersedia merempuh pertahanan kebal skuad Tok Gajah. Nantikan penentuannya dalam siaran langsung perlawanan akhir Unify Gala Malaysia 2024-2025. Johor Darul Takzim bertemu Sri Pahang FC 26 April 8 malam di saluran OK dan Sukan RTM. Juga penstreaman langsung di RTM Click.
And that's it from us this afternoon. In our top story, Chinese President Xi arrives at Istana Negara for state welcoming ceremony. Do join us again tonight at 8:30 p.m. for more on TV1 and saluran Berita RTM, or you can always catch us live on RTM Click's website and mobile application. Till then, I'm Brenda Lepol from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Take care.